38 female 39 male. My husband's new wife is taking my place everywhere, even in my own family. I'm 38 female. My ex-husband is 39. We were together for 15 years when he asked for a divorce. I was completely crushed. I tried everything to keep our marriage together. I told him I was willing to do anything. But he didn't want to work on it. After the divorce was finalized, he started dating someone else right away, 26 female, and I was completely devastated. Between needing to work more to keep up with bills, as well as losing access to a lot of my medications, without his health insurance most of them were too expensive to afford on my insurance, I fell into a deep depression. Our kids always wanted to spend time over their fathers. His new partner is much younger than me, and completely able-bodied and is able to run around with them and practice sports with them and go hiking with them. All stuff that I wasn't able to do, and I don't blame them for wanting to spend more time there. I tried to make things as fun as possible here. But it just didn't even compare. They spend most of their time there now. It's really hard for me, but they were old enough to know what made them happiest and they made their own decision. Now they're married. I'm not complaining because as a stepmother she's amazing. She always respects me as their parent and lets me know if they're taking them somewhere far away. She sends me pictures and updates of them every day. She's a good person too. She's taken me to doctor's appointments before when the buses weren't running. The problem is, as well as my sons and husband clearly liking her better than me as well, I think my family likes her better too. And that's really hard for me. Over the holidays my aunt, mother's sister, had a holiday party. It was on a day I was working, but even so, I never got an invite. I had no idea it was happening until I opened up social media and saw photos of all of them, my son's and ex and his new wife all dressed up and celebrating Christmas with my family. There's this one picture of my kids, Paige, and my mother all posing around the Christmas tree. You'd never be able to tell she wasn't actually my mother's daughter just from looking at that picture. When I asked my family about the party, they said they knew I worked Saturdays and knew I wouldn't be able to get off, so what was the point of inviting me? They thought it would just make me upset. But they did want to celebrate with the kids, so they invited them and my ex. Then today my mom is talking about family birthdays. She's planning out for February. When we have a month with multiple birthdays, we do one big family party. So she's saying all the people who have birthdays in February, and she lists my ex-husband's new wife and says we need to find a weekend to celebrate. I was a little taken aback that we were celebrating hers too. And my mother got kind of annoyed and said, well, she is part of the family now. That's just something you need to accept. I just get the feeling they like her more than me. And I get it. She's young, pretty, very friendly and fit and personable, and I'm not. I just don't know how to deal with feeling like I'm being replaced. Just shoved to the side. I'm probably being way too dramatic about this. I guess I'm just feeling bad for myself. When I asked my family about the party, they said they knew I worked Saturdays and knew I wouldn't be able to get off, so what was the point of inviting me? Why couldn't you just plan it for a day I was off? I would have been happy to give you my schedule if you'd asked, instead of feeling like you're replacing me with his new wife. My heart hurts for you. I know how you feel to a lesser extent, but I don't have kids or anything. I just try to isolate and disappear. If you're ever feeling lonely or down, my DMs are always open to you. Me, 25M, and my girlfriend, 24F, disagree on pre-relationship hookup. So a little backstory about us. We met at a high school party when we were 16 and 17. Since then, we have hooked up a few times in high school, and a few times in college, but we were never anything serious. I have been in a few serious relationships and just recently before lived with my ex of 3 years. She has had one unhealthy boyfriend in college, but was not treated very well and does not really count that as a true relationship. Besides that, she has never had a boyfriend. Fast forward to summer of 2022, we reconnect and starting hanging out, texting more frequently. This time felt different, as we have never consistently hung out or texted like this before. She would come over to my apartment once or twice a week and we would talk all day every day. It was around this time that I started catching feelings and was under the impression that things were moving to a more exclusive position. After a month or two of this, she goes away on a family vacation and some things happen. While she was there, she had 2 separate one-night stands. Prior to this vacation, she was not sexually active for over a year besides with me. When she comes back, I did not know about the hookups yet. She invited me to help her move some stuff from her old college apartment. I thought this would be a lot of fun and a confirmation she was feeling the same way about me, as this was a few hours away and we would be spending a whole weekend together. While we are there, I felt the timing was right to somewhat put a label on us and ask if we were exclusive. This definitely caught her off guard, as she did not give me a straight response. This left me with a lot of questions and kind of put a damper on the rest of the trip. After the weekend of helping her move, she told me very honestly what had happened on her vacation, but that she was interested in being exclusive with me. I expressed I was under the impression that we both had feelings for each other and kind of felt cheated on in a sense. To girlfriend's point, we have had casual hookups when we were younger and nothing serious ever seemed to come out of it. She also told me she is not very experienced in relationships and completely missed a lot of signs that I was throwing at her. We agreed to try to move on from this, and she drunkenly asked me to be her boyfriend only 2 weeks after her vacation. I drunkenly said yes, and we confirmed it again in the morning when we were more in the correct mindset. I was going to try to put this behind us, as she is an amazing person and we share many hobbies and interests. After about 5 months of us officially dating, I can honestly say I love her and we get along great. The only problem is I cannot seem to shake this vacation thing. This past week, I have asked her for some space to really sit in my emotions and try to find an answer for us. We are planning on meeting up tonight to come to a conclusion, and I still feel hurt, but being without her hurts just as much. I feel like she did not, technically, do anything wrong, but it is one of those scenarios where I either need to accept it and move on or end the relationship. I do not feel it is fair to keep making her relive this simply because I am not over it. Too long did not read. My girlfriend hooked up with 2 people 2 weeks before we officially started dating, and it still hurts me to think about. You should either get over it or break up with her. What you should not do is keep dating her while holding this over her head and treating her like a cheater. She also told me she is not very experienced in relationships and completely missed a lot of signs that I was throwing at her. Okay, back up. Did you say anything to her? She's not a mind reader. You had expectations that she didn't even know about. She didn't cheat, but you feel how you feel. Either get over it, or break up, but don't string her along indefinitely. My advice would be to find a way to let this go. There's no substitute for defining the relationship. Feel however hurt about it as you do, but acknowledge that she did nothing wrong, and that this is your cross to bear. Either you let the past be the past or break up and feel like an idiot over it once you get some perspective. My 28F husband, 30M, started doing something absolutely disgusting that I can't tolerate. I'm too embarrassed to write this on my main account. About 3 weeks ago, I was cleaning and found a bottle under the bed that was wrapped in a piece of cloth, in a pretty clumsy way. Like it was supposed to be hidden. I didn't want to believe what I was seeing, but it really looked like someone pissed inside it. I literally threw up. I could just speculate that it was my husband and somehow he wanted to hide it from me. About a week later, I was up late into the night and I saw my husband actually peeing inside another bottle. I snapped at him, but we didn't have a conversation because it was very late. Next day he told me he gets really lazy to go to the bathroom at night, so he just pees into the bottle and cleans it up in the morning. I am beyond disgusted. This shit is breakup worthy for me, to be honest. He shifted to being defensive about it now. He says his depression is making him demotivated even to move, so he has to do this. I want to sympathize with him because his mental health has taken a nosedive recently, but it's just so intolerable. Like, he doesn't grasp how absolutely disgusting this is, or even says he'll do a better job. I can't believe I have to deal with this. If you divorce a guy for pissing in bottles and hiding them under the bed, no one will question you. No more info will be needed. You have the whole world's permission. When I read the title I got scared this was another semen jar story or something. Thankfully this is much less gross, but it's still appalling behavior on your husband's part. I think it would take more effort to piss in a bottle, wrap it up in cloth, and hide it under the bed, all of which requires standing up, than to just go to the bathroom. This is pure laziness and or weirdness. How I, 29F, let my partner, 37M, know I am tired of doing everything. We're saving up for a wedding. I earn more than him, so I'm putting more aside. In order to save enough money, I have also started doing 2 different freelance jobs outside of work. The hours vary for the freelance, but outside of my work 37.5 hours. I would say freelance takes up anywhere between 6–12 hours. So I'm effectively working 45–50 hours a week. In addition to this, I've gained weight which I'm finding hard to lose. I have other health issues too which require me to do things at home such as exercise etc. I'm also unofficially in charge of cooking and cleaning for the both of us. And not only that, but there are times when he needs my help on his work. Add all of these factors in and I feel like I'm drowning. I got angry and I exploded, and he reacted negatively, telling me that he washed the dishes. And he did, but that was one day. After work somehow I end up doing all these things and suddenly it's 9 p.m. and I wonder where the time went, as I never got a time to enjoy myself or watch a show. Meanwhile, without fail, every day, he will start playing his games on PC after he finishes work. How do I effectively tell him that I'm struggling and I want him to start helping out more when he already thinks he helps out? I baked cupcakes today because I love baking and hadn't baked in ages, and after I told him I can't cope with all the work, he told me to stop baking cupcakes. I feel like he gets defensive every time I bring up doing any housework and creates an argument in order to get out of any work. Any advice, PLS? Leaving is not an option. Is there a reason you stay with someone that doesn't value as you anything more than a maid, mom? Leaving is not an option. Leaving is always an option, if you want change. Keep doing the same thing over and over and you will continue to be more and more miserable. Is it the only option? Of course not, but that statement says so much about your situation. And #X200B. Do not marry this man now. Sit him down, make a list together of responsibilities. Make a chart of your time working and his. Explain what adult responsibilities are and how to make them fair. Expect him to act like a grown-up. Stop doing everything. Simply just stop.